When NASA discovers a message reading God Save the Queen under the ice on Mars' surface, the 12th Doctor, Nardole, and Bill travel to the Red Planet to investigate. On arrival, they find Victorian soldiers embroiled in a conflict with one of Mars's ancient species. Welcome, friends and companions. Sci-Fi and Fantasy fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about food and music, drinks and sport. And a special place on this channel for Doctor Who, my most beloved series, sci-fi series. Random, because we discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books and music. Except for religion and politics, that these are not entertainment. I want to have laughter, fun, and jokes. So no religion, no politics. Yes, yes. Random, because we're broadcast on non-fixed times, actually many different times. You need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. The reason I do different times is I want to, because I meet so much people as possible in different countries and time zones. So that's the reason why. And I want to go with the flow. So that's why random times on this channel. Subscription is needed. Random also because we have no guests or different guests. It depends on to join me in a live stream or panel. If you want to join me in a live stream, feel free to contact me via Discord or YouTube, and we will look what is possible. And you also feel free to invite me for a channel, for a live stream or panel, because I also want to contribute to your channel and I want to make friends and network. So, in summary, you are invited. If you feel free to invite me. So the Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel. Tag Doctor Who on Discord and you'll find me very quickly because I bump the server regularly. So cheers, mate. And have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic Joker, and today we have a 12th Doctor story called Empress of Mars. 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. Some general info about this story. Empress of Mars was the 9th episode of Series 10 of Doctor Who. This episode was notable for introducing the first female ice warrior on screen, the Ice Queen Eraxa, 50 years after the species were introduced in 1967's The Ice Warriors. That was with Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor. Despite previous stories establishing that the Ice Warriors are from Mars, Empress of Mars marks the first televised adventure in which the Ice Warriors are seen on Mars. The episode also saw the return of two actors from classic Doctor Who. Isan Churchman reprising the role of Alpha Centauri for the first time since the 1974 story The Monster of Paladin. That was a story with John Pertwee, the third Doctor, and Anthony Cobb, who last appeared on televised Doctor Who as Charles in 1982 serial The Visitation. It again saw the Doctor attempting to mediate a conflict between humans and alien species. Narratively, this episode saw Missy out of her vault for the first time since her imprisonment. A large part of the series arc revolved around guarding the vault to make sure that she did not escape. In this story, Nardole allows Missy to pilot the TARDIS to Mars to save the Doctor and Bill. So that's from in general info and background. We will now dive into the plot. So if you haven't watched this story yet, I highly recommend you to watch and listen to it. And or you can now listen to the plot. So there we go. NASA 2017. New space probe Valkyrie is arriving at a pole on Mars. Equipped with a new camera capable of seeing through ice, NASA hopes to get new pictures of Martian landscape. To the crew's surprise, the 12th Doctor, Bill, and Nardo are in the control room with them. The Doctor tells them that it's a field trip for the kids. Using a psychic paper, the Doctor convinces them that the Chief gave them permission to go where they please. Bill sees a picture on the wall, asking if it's Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. The Doctor tells her no. He was the first human male on the moon. An image from Valkyrie starts coming on the monitor as the fuzzy image clears up. The Doctor cracks an ecstatic smile while the crew, Bill and Nardo, are confused. The picture is a bunch of rocks spelling out the message, God save the Queen! Having tracked the message formation back to 1881, the Doctor takes the TARDIS to Mars to find out how it happened. They ask if there were humans on Mars in Victorian times, to which the Doctor says there isn't supposed to be. Nardo tracks life signs below the surface, so they park the TARDIS below ground. Exiting in sleek black spacesuits, the Doctor, Bill, and Nardo explore a cavern. Seeing a flickering light ahead, they follow it to find a campfire, taken as a sign they can breathe down there. Bill immediately concludes that there must be air and prepares to remove her helmet. However, the Doctor stops her, wishing to be careful. They then turn to see Nardo has already taken off his helmet. Fire equals air, Nardo states. The Doctor snaps back that a lack of caution equals basic death in frustrated tone. The Doctor and Bill take off their helmets, with Bill wondering how they can be oxygen underground. The Doctor states Martians were clever. As they explore, Bill wonders if the message is due to someone messing with time, like in the Terminator. She tells the Doctor he'd like the film because it has killer robots. The Doctor tells her that he'll put it on his movie list. Bill additionally states spooky caverns remind her of The Thing, confusing the Doctor again. She tells him he'd liked it, too, because everybody dies. Suddenly, she falls down a hole in the cavern into a lower area. The Doctor sends Nardo back to the TARDIS to find some rope and climbing equipment. However, right as Nardo passes the console to head down for supplies, the TARDIS brakes suddenly come undone and the TARDIS vanishes back to St. Luke's University, with a panicky Nardo inside. Hearing the TARDIS leave, the Doctor begins to worry. Bill, in the meantime, is surprised by a strange robot-like being that arrives out of a lift. However, it's revealed a human is inside of it when he removes the helmet. It's a primitive spacesuit. The Doctor, elsewhere, is pondering on what to do. He's surprised by the appearance on an ice warrior, which proceeds to march quickly towards him. The Doctor raises his hand and orders it to halt. The warrior complies. Given ritual greeting to show his respect, the Doctor introduces himself, stating he was an honorary guardian of the Titanian hive. A British soldier arrives from the lift, brandishing a rifle. The Doctor tells him not to fire on the ice warrior, only to have a shot fired at his feet. The soldier was talking to him. Back at St. Luke's University, Nardole tries getting the TARDIS to go back to Mars. However, it refuses to budge. Desperate, Nardole goes down to the vault. He asks Missy over the intercom if she can tell him how to repair the TARDIS, so he can go retrieve the Doctor. Missy tells him that she's more than willing to go, then more than willing to, but it would be easier if she just showed him herself. Nardole gives a grim look. Back on Mars, the Doctor and Bill have been taken back to camp further below. The Ice Warrior, Friday, and human Catchlove serve tea to them. As they wait for their tea, they ask where Nardole is, to which the Doctor tells her that he's taken the TARDIS and temporarily stranded them on 136 years in the past on another planet. The head officer, Colonel Godsaker, reveals that his men were stationed in South Africa and came across Friday's ship and him in suspended animation, and named him Friday from Robinson Crusoe. Thanks to the psychic paper, the soldiers think the Doctor and Bill were on Friday's ship in a hidden compartment. The Doctor asks what happened afterwards as his memory is hazy. Friday asks for their help repairing his ship in exchange for riches back on Mars. Unfortunately, the ship crashed and was beyond repair. However, they were able to salvage a laser from the ship and repurpose it into a mining tool called the Gargantua to blast through a wall in the cavern, bit by bit to search for the promised treasure. However, their labor hasn't borne any fruit. Their supplies and morale are low. Suspicious of Friday's true motives, the Doctor tells Bill that ice warriors are Mars' indigenous species. They could build a city on the sand, yet drench the snows of Mars with innocent blood. They could slaughter whole civilizations, yet weep at the crushing of a flower. Bill compares ice warriors to Vikings, to which the Doctor agrees. The Doctor asks Friday why he truly has come back. Friday states he's old and wishes to die in peace, but quickly catches a plate that a rumble knocks over. Both the Doctor and Bill realize that if what Friday said was true, his reflexes would not be that good. In the meantime, the mining crew is bickering with each other over spending months on a fruitless endeavor. However, the Gargantua finally break through into a hidden chamber. The Doctor and Bill join them. In the center of the room is a golden crypt with jewels on the side, with what appears to be a golden statue of female ice warrior. A stunned Doctor reveals that they are in an ice queen tomb. It could also be an entrance to an ice warrior hive, where more sleep. Catchlove smugly orders the Doctor and Bill detained, consumed by his greed. However, Godsaker reminds him that he is in charge and to post a guard so they can resolve this after night sleep. Back at the camp, the Doctor warns Godsaker that Friday has been using them. He wants to find his queen. The Doctor simplifies things by stating that the soldiers don't belong on Mars and need to leave. However, Catchlove arrogantly states Mars is part of the British Empire now. Doctor tells Bill that he's not taking sides, only trying to prevent deaths. He tells her that the humans are the invaders and that they are technologically inferior to the Ice Warriors. It's going to be a massacre if they don't intervene. Back at the tomb, a soldier named Jackdaw drugs the sergeant and promises Vinci a generous cut of the jewels. Vinci keeps watch as Jackdaw takes a knife to a blue gem in the crypt. Pulling it out, he accidentally activates the tomb. The gold on the statue melts away, revealing it's the real Ice Queen. Examining the gem in his hand, Jackdaw remains unaware of the danger his greed has awakened. However, right before he can do anything else, his head is grabbed by the Ice Queen. Worried Jackdaw is taking too long. Vinci goes to check on him. He finds the tomb empty, with no sign of the Ice Queen or Jackdaw's body. Hearing someone approaching from the stairs, Vinci sees the Ice Queen. The Queen demands he identify, causing Vinci to scream in terror. Another soldier enters and fires at the Queen in vain, calling the action unwise. The Queen fires a laser that compressed the soldier in a folded mass. Friday arrived next, having been alerted to her awakening by his suit. Vinci flees. Friday reveals that they have slumbered too long and that Mars is dead. The soldier, the soldiers take arms and rush back into the tomb. The doctor asks Godsaker to let him speak, but Ketchlove rudely demands Friday reveal who the queen is. Friday states she is Erexa, rightful ruler of Mars. Ketchlove orders a call to arms, but Godsaker firmly reminds him of his place. He allows the doctor to speak. Erexa is impressed with the doctor's knowledge of ice warrior customs. He asks mercy for the primitives. The doctor backs up Friday's claim that Mars is uninhabitable. He states that accepting help is the only way to survive. Iraxa scratches side of Bill, asking her opinion. She values female opinions as men are more aggressive minded. Bill backs up the doctor's claim and states that Friday was saved by the humans. This infuriates, this infuriates Iraxa, who thinks Friday has been reduced to a pet. The doctor gets her to fight for the future, not a dead past. A shot goes off by accident. Iraxa states that she will grant mercy to the humans with a swift death. Everyone leaves. Ketchlove takes command from Godsaker, using the Gargantua to seal the tomb again. However, Iraxa begins waking up more ice warriors. Arrogantly, Ketchlove reveals Godsaker suffers a failed execution for deserting. The doctor tells him that it doesn't matter who's in charge of their expedition. They are no match for ice warriors. Ketchlove thinks they can handle upright crocodiles, ordering the doctor and Bill imprisoned with Godsaker. Ketchlove gives an arrogant smile. In the brig, Bill asks the doctor if he has a plan. The doctor tells her that he's made of plants. Godsaker inquires as to who the doctor and Bill are as they speak of humans like they are different species. Bill tells him that they are basically police, which the doctor denies. Godsaker laughs, finding the idea of a woman officer amusing. Bill ignores the sexism, asking if what Ketchlove said about him being a deserter was true. Godsaker reveals that Ketchlove learned of the situation and blackmailed him for a very long time. Elsewhere, Ketchlove has the men primed to shoot at the opening of the tomb. However, the Ice Warriors prove more clever than he gave them credit for. They are instead rising out of the ground from behind them. Finally, seeing that he is in over his head, Ketchlove uses Vinci as a shield to block a blast from an Ice Warrior as he flees in the gales. Friday rises out of the ground in the brig, asking the doctor to bring an end to Iraxa's madness. The doctor promises to do so, and Friday breaks down the door, allowing them out. The doctor tells Bill to create a distraction while he implements his plan. Bill calls to Iraxa, reminding her that she had valued her opinion before, offering to talk to her woman to woman. Iraxa states that dialogue has no place in war, prompting Bill to ask why it has to be a war. Talking Friday's hand, Bill shows her that they can work together. Iraxa is not convinced. The doctor shouts from the Gargantua's controls, threatening to fire at the roof of the cavern and release the water of the polar ice cap upon them all. He knows that our civilization will be trapped in an eternal winter, like frozen. However, Ketchlove takes Iraxa hostage. As he has no clue how to operate Fry's ship, he's decided to take Iraxa to pilot it. She doubles as a valuable hostage. As Ketchlove backs up to the lift, Godsaker exits and shoots him dead. Iraxa is surprised to see this, asking if Godsaker will now ask for his life to be spared. Bill attempts to intervene but is stopped by the doctor. Godsaker states he was almost executed for cowardice, but is willing to give his life to Iraxa if she will spare everyone else. Eraxa is impressed with Godsaker's valor, telling him that he will die, but in battle, as this true way of the warrior. She tells Godsaker to swear loyalty to her, so that he may have the chance to regain his honor in battle. He does so, swearing to serve her until his death. He asks if the doctor knew that was going to happen. He did, saying the problem with him is that he thinks too much like a soldier. In the tomb, the doctor hotwires the communication relay to send a distress signal to the nearest civilized planet capable of space travel. Iraxa thanks the doctor for his help in saving her people. Someone responds to the distress signal and Iraxa answers it. The caller is Alpha Centauri, who tells her that a fleet can be sent to assist with evacuating the Ice Warriors to a new planet. However, a beacon of some sort will be needed to guide the ships to their location. Bill wonders what will happen now, to which the doctor guesses that they've just jump-started the Martian Golden Age. On the surface, the doctor and Bill, along with Godsaker, are moving rocks around. Godsaker thanks them for all the help, wondering if the ships will be able to see the beacon. Amused, the doctor tells him that they will. It turns out they are the ones who spell out "God Save the Queen" on the polar ice cap. Later, the Doctor and Bill enter the TARDIS after it finally manages to return. Entering the TARDIS, the Doctor starts berating Nardole for taking so long to come back, but freezes upon seeing Missy at the controls. The Doctor asks Nardole what Missy is doing out of the vault, to which he says to thank her as they would be stuck on Mars without her help. Missy shows uncharacteristic concern, asking the Doctor if he's okay. The doctor tells her that this can't happen and that she's going back to the vault. And she states that she will, surprising the doctor as she never been known to be so compliant. Seeing the doctor in shock, Missy asks if he's all right once more. The doctor gives stunned silence. And that, my friends, is the end of the story, Empress of Mars. I will name some cast members. The 12th Doctor is played by Peter Capaldi. Bill is played by Pearl Mackie. Nardo is played by Matt Lucas. Missy is played by Michelle Gomez. Godsaker is played by Anthony Calf. Catchclough is played by Ferdinand Kingsley. Friday is played by Richard Ashton. Iraxa is played by Adele Lynch. Sergeant Major Peach is played by Glenn Spears. Jack Dawes is played by Ian Beatty. Vinci is played by Bayo Kabadan Moshi. Nips is played by Ian Hughes. Boots is played by Leslie Ewan. And the voice of El Centauri is voiced by Isen Churchman. Some world building, culture from the real world. 4 points. Bill mentioned in the film The Vikings, which stars Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis and has an amazing theme tune. Second thing, the soldiers brought a Union flag with them. Third thing is that Friday is named after a man Friday from Robinson Crusoe. And third thing is that Kotsaker finds the notion of a woman in the police force laughable. Some world building in foods and beverages. Three things. Nardo is drinking a cup of tea at NASA. Second thing is that Dr. Bill Catchclough and Godsaker drink afternoon tea and eat cake. And the third thing is that when Friday is serving tea, Catchclough asks whether Bill would like Indian or China. Some world building in locations. Godsaker was stationed in South Africa and was a hero of Isand Lawana. And second thing is that Catchclough says Mars is now part of the British Empire. Some world building technology, 5 points. Point one, NASA is testing out the space probe Valkyrie on Mars. That's a new kind of camera which allows to see under the poles and beam back pictures due to using different spectrum. Second thing is that probe pictures need to download before they show up. A third thing is that Friday offered his spaceship artillery to help the Victorian soldiers to build a mining machine named the Gargantua. Fourth thing is that ice warriors have been sleeping in cryogenic cells. And the fifth thing is that Ketchlov plans to dynamite the lifts. Some well-being in physics. Nardal concludes that fire on Mars would equal oxygen and calls it basic physics. Some well-building in people. Um, Bill points out a photograph of Neil Armstrong on the wall of NASA. Dot clarifies that Armstrong was not the first man on the moon. Second thing is that the psychic paper tells NASA the TARDIS crew has been allowed everywhere at the company by the chief. A third thing is that the British Army have a portrait of Queen Victoria. They aim to claim Mars in her name. A fourth thing is that Friday and Erexa have been in hibernation for 5,000 years. A fifth thing is that Vinci is engaged to someone named Alice. And the sixth thing is that having traveled with the doctor for some time now, Bill believes the doctor would enjoy movies with killer robots and where everyone dies. Some will building in jobs. Jobs at NASA were given as payload text, mod, video, GC, GPO, prop, ETL, flight, VIO, DPS, and MMX. The second thing is that the doctor suggests the reason for the message on the surface of Mars could be state visit patriotic verfer or rogue gravity artist. Some world-building species. The ice warriors Iraxa is an ice queen, and Alpha Centauri sends a spaceship to Mars. About currency, Friday promised the Victorian soldiers gemstones, silver, gold, and other kinds of treasures. About the TARDIS pilots herself autonomously back to the doctor's office at St. Luke's University. Some will building in jargon. God Save the Queen is written on the surface of Mars. Jack Daw uses the expression Sweet Fanny Adams. Pete says RHAP, meaning rank has its privileges. Iraxa refers to Vinci as fleshy worm. Sketchlove refers to the colonels hanging as dancing the Newgate polka and calls him a paper tiger. Kitchlove says the British army is more than a match to upright crocodiles. Kitchlove tells Iraxa to call off her dogs. Vinci uses the phrase in all my puff. The doctor sends out a round robin email, and Godsaker says he can't go to battle due to blue funk. Some well-building in music. Jack Doll sings she was poor, but she was honest to himself. Some influences. Mark Geddes was inspired by Victorian science fiction series like Journey to the Center of the Earth. The opening message on the Martian soil was inspired by a similar discovery on the lunar terrain in First Man on the Moon. Geddes described the story as Zulu space. Vinci was so called as an homage to characters in Rider Haggard's 1887 adventure novel She. Love was inspired by Harry Fleshman, a scoundrel created by Thomas Hughes for his 1857 novel Tom Brown's School Days, and later revived by George MacDonald's Fraser from the Fleshman book series. Catchglove name came from Stephanie Williams' 2011 book Running the Snow show. And last thing, the title was inspired by Edgar Rice Burroughs' 1912 novel A Princess of Mars. So that are some influences for this story. Some story notes. The episode had the working title of The Empress of Mars. Another thing is that Ethan Georgeman came out of retirement to voice Alpha Centauri at the age of 92, becoming the oldest actor to appear in a new television series of Doctor Who. To keep the reappearance of Alpha Centauri a surprise, Georgeman was not credited in Radio Times nor on the Doctor Who website. Alpha Centauri, for the record, last appeared 43 years previously in The Monster of Peladon, a third Doctor story. To date, this marks the second longest interval between consecutive appearances by a character or alien race in franchise history, overtaken only by the Great Intelligence. This record was later broken by William Russell, reprising the role of Ian Chesterton in The Power of the Doctor at age 97. Another note is that Mark Gatiss originally planned a sequel to Sleep No More, where the Doctor discovers that bankers in modern-day London have begun using sleep abbreviating technology similar to the Morpheus machines, releasing another wave of the monstrous Sandman. And with Stephen Moffat departing the show, Gatiss decided to close out his time with a story of his own. Gatiss pitched the idea to Moffat while they were developing the fourth and final season of Sherlock. Another thing is that Ferdinand Kingsley was currently co-starring with Jenna Coleman in Victoria. The image of Queen Victoria used for this episode, however, is a portrait of Pauline Collins from Tooth and Claw. Another thing is that at one point, Erexa tells her soldiers to sleep no more. This is reference to Mark Gatiss' previous episode for the program, Sleep No More. Another thing is that Ian Nice had indicated his interest in returning to the role of Winston Churchill, and consideration was given to having him be unearthed during excavations of the Martian surface. This was abandoned when neither Steve Moffat nor Mark Gatiss would find a way to incorporate him into the 1881 setting. Another thing is that Missy's team plays during her reveal inside the TARDIS for the first time since Series 8. Another thing is that though this episode is the sixth on-screen appearance of the Ice Warriors and third TV story set on Mars, it is the first time the Ice Warriors are seen on the home world on screen. Another thing is that the term RHIP was previously used in Day of the Daleks. That was Third Doctor story with Joe Grant. Another thing is that the Doctor and Bill and Nordell wear a new design of spacesuit rather than the Sanctuary Base 6 spacesuit introduced in the Impossible Planet. Impossible Planet is a story with the Doctor and Rose. And the SB6 spacesuit would return next time the Doctor and companions needed spacesuits in The Power of the Doctor. That's with 13th Doctor Jodie Whittaker. Another thing is that Stephen Moffat was not particularly an armored of the Ice Warriors, but he reluctantly agreed on the condition that Mark Gatiss developed the Martians in a novel manner. He was delighted with the writer's suggestion that the female Ice Warrior could be introduced for the first time, occupying leadership position within Martian society. Another thing is that Mark Gatiss contemplated revisiting Paddington in a story that would have been an allegory for Brexit. This notion was abandoned due to Steve Moffat's concern that Paddington's torch lit stone passageways ways would be too similar to the tunnels and caverns of the Eaters of Light. As with also with 12th Doctor, by the way. Another thing is that the fourth time, Mark Gatiss intended that Grand Marshal Skulldug would return. However, he also decided to draw upon the notion of Ice Warriors Highs, which he had invented for dialogue in Robot of Sherwood. Since this led to the inclusion of an extensive Martian burial chamber, Stephen Moffat was keen to avoid comparisons with the Tomb of the Cybermen. That's with the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. It was agreed that Gatiss' script would instead be set in the past, with the writer's favorite period, the Victorian era, quickly selected. Since Skulldug had been in suspended animation for centuries prior to 1983 setting of Cold War, he would have to be omitted. Another thing that Mark Gatiss hoped that the story could take place within a glass dome on the Martian surface, but the budget was unable to accommodate the concept. Another thing that Mark Gatiss got the name Godsaker from a cemetery in Dorset. Originally, the British spaceship was a new vessel which was constructed after Godsaker discovered a psychic Californian book hidden in a cave in South Africa. Doctor later revealed that it was called Intergalactic Engineering for Dummies and it was left in the cave after he misplaced it. The doctors were assisted by a work gang made up of convicts from various parts of the British Empire. Jackdaw was amongst them. Friday had been found during the excavations on Mars, and a prison doctor later used the book to contact him telepathically, addressing him by his real name, Vorka, to ask for his help. There was originally. Um, Both Nardo and Missy were late additions to the script. Another thing is that Iraxa's attitude towards humanity originally softened when Bill offered to take her place at Cutclove's hostage, rather than after Godsaker's surrender. Another thing is that having discovered that Vinci will be played by Bayo Gabanosi, Mark Kettis was initially concerned that his presence would appear anachronistic given the Victorian time frame. However, he subsequently learned about a Sudanese child named Mustafa who was adopted by soldiers of the Durham Light Infantry following the Battle of Guinness on December 30th, 1885. Renamed James Durham, he subsequently enlisted as a soldier with the permission of Queen Victoria. Vinci was therefore given a similar backstory. At one stage, he was fatally stabbed by Ketchlove after being threatening to expose the other man's treachery, rather than being pushed into the path of an ice warrior weapon. Another thing is that this was originally meant to be the 10th episode of season 10. It was swapped with the Eaters of Light due to Missy's involvement in both episodes. Next, the episode formed block 6 of season 10 alongside the Lie of the Land. Next thing is that the opening scene in NASA was the first scene to be shot. Then the Doctor and Bill leaving the message on the Martin surface was filmed on the Road Lock car park with the aid of a green screen. The next thing is that unlike Alpha Centauri's previous appearances, when stuntman Stuart Fell had worn a costume to provide physical form, the delicate was realized via computer animation on this occasion. And the last story note is that in the deleted scene, Doctor and Bill help Friday with the washing up, and the Doctor attempts unsuccessfully to get him to admit to an ulterior motive in bringing the soldiers to Mars. Friday speaks of being the last of his kind in a way that echoes things the Doctor has said about being the last of the Time Lords. He asks the Doctor if he's sure he's not just suspicious of Friday because he's a big green alien monster. And the Doctor gives her a short speech about alien races having individuals just the same way humans do. So, last thing, that's in continuity. Because in Universe, stories and episodes, in to some extent, relate to each other, are linked to each other, reference to each other, or from influence to each other. And interpretation, some continuity. Um, Continuity. The Doctor told Friday that he was an honorary guardian of the Titonian Hive. There's a link to the creature from the pit. Um, that's with the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, and K9 Mark II, and Romana the second. Second thing is the Doctor again greets Ice Warriors with the By the Moons, I honor thee. There is an we see it also in Cold War with the 11th Doctor and Clara. Another thing is that Bill mentions Neil Armstrong and 1969 moon landing. The 10th Doctor was present for it with the companion Martha Jones in TV story Blink. while his 11th incarnation witnessed the broadcast of Armstrong live while interrupting the footage with the image of a silence. We see that in the TV story Day of the Moon. Four things that Nordell knows how to pilot the TARDIS. We see that in TV story The Return of Dr. Mysterio. 5 point is that Dr. visits one of the Ice Warrior eyes, as he had intended to do with Clara Oswald. We see that in the TV story Robot of Sherwood. A sixth thing is that Doctor previously dealt with another mission to Mars by British explorers. We see that in TV story The Ambassadors of Death. That is with third Doctor John Pertwee. Another thing that Doctor has visited the remains of the Ice Warrior civilization before. You see it in the waters of Mars. That's with 10th Doctor, David Tennant. The eighth point is that Doctor complains that his sonic screwdriver still has no setting for wood. See it in they're linked also to the Silence in the Library, Hungry Earth, Night Terrors, The Doctor, The Widow and the Wardrobe, In the Forest of the Night, and Day of the Doctor. Next point is that the Doctor sends a message to Alpha Centauri to start the new Ice Warriors' lives. See it, The Curse of Paladin, also with Third Doctor. The Doctor mentions that Neil Armstrong was not the first man on the moon. So linked to Pro's Moonblink. And the last thing in continuity is that the Doctor and Bill will meet the Ice Warriors again. We see that in the comic The Wolves of Winter. And that, my friends and companions, is all I have to say about this story. So commercial. Sci-Fi Fantasy fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about food and drinks, music and sport, and a special place on this channel for Doctor Who. This channel has multiple names. Usually, most of the time, I call it Random Entertainment Channel. And why random? Random because we'll discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books and music. Most of the time, Doctor Who. Random because we will broadcast on non-fixed times, actually many different times. You need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. Random also because we will have no guests or different guests. It depends on what you join me in live stream or panel. If you want to join me in live stream, feel free to contact me via Discord or YouTube and we'll look what is possible. And it's also possible to invite me for your channel. Feel free to invite me for your channel for a live stream or panel. I also want to contribute to your channel. I want to make friends. I want to network. And I want to talk about, Doctor Who, of course. For example. Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel. Tag Doctor Who on Discord. You find me very quick because I bump the server very regularly. So cheers, mate. Have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic Joker, and I'm looking forward to meet you. See you next time. Bye bye. Have a nice day. Bye bye.